think I wouldn't notice if you're just wasting my goddamn time. I'm too busy for this shit.
No,
Whoa, what's that? Nobody. Chisels in on me.
Welcome to the Circus of Value!
How dare you!
What?
Ah! Why are you dragging out your treatment?
I'm your bitch! She didn't fit in anyway. I don't care where she's gone. Mark my words. Your kind isn't welcome here.
yonder, and the bathysphere station is as well. And then straight on to Ryan.
Even in the gathering dark, you light a candle. You have saved the little ones when you might have shown your cruelty. I am sending something your way to demonstrate our thanks.
Time for Betty Bye, Mr. B.
Cry out for Big Daddy's help. Make him think you're a little sister. Watch as he fights to protect you.
Floating in the air. When I call a man entitled.
We all make choices, but in the end, our choices make us.
I won't hurt you. I just want to see what's inside.
That dream's gonna happen.
Don't worry. I'm opening you up!
I don't feel so great. I'm dizzy, I'm nauseous, and sometimes I'm even seeing things that aren't there.
That's just the plasmid blues, Mary. You just need to slow down a bit on the splicing. Before you know it, you'll be right as rain. Remember, a smart splicer inside the splicer.
No! 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 Thank you, mister. Thank you.
Welcome to the circus of value.
I hate the babies the most. They come out covered in death.
There has been tremendous pressure to regulate this plasmid business. There have been side effects, blindness, insanity, death. But what use is our ideology if it is not tested? The market does not respond like an infant, shrieking at the first sign of displeasure. The market is patient, and we must be too. whining to me about market forces, and don't expect me to punish citizens for showing a little initiative. If you don't like what Fontaine is doing, well, I suggest you find a way to offer a better product.
Yes, I know about the lockdown. It's absurd. Just give me a minute. Early Lazarus tests are very promising. If the Rosa Gallica bloom, then by God, I know we're in business.
Hurry, the lockdown!
All right, I'm leaving. But somebody has to find a way to come back to check on these samples. They're very important.
Rapture no more. I hear they've been rounding up people in Paula Square. I asked Ryan how could he do such things to innocents. He said, innocents. If they haven't chosen to defend Rapture, they've chosen to side with Atlas and his bandits. So there are no innocents. There are heroes, and there are criminals.
Yeah, Mark will come back, huh? Yeah, everything will be fine. Yeah, it'll all be fine. These assholes. I'm a winner. I'm worth telling you!
surface, I once bought a forest. The parasites claimed that the land belonged to God and demanded that I establish a public park there. Why? So the rabble could stand slack-jawed under the canopy and pretend that it was paradise earned. When Congress moved to nationalize my forest, I burnt it to the ground. God did not plant the seeds of this Arcadia. I did.
Down here with a dream. That dream's gonna happen.
Tasha started screaming, "Mama, Mama, what is that? What is that?" I thought she was having some kind of seizure. And then I realized, trees. Never saw one before. Thought they were monsters. Oh, Sammy, maybe we never should have come to this place.
You got the chlorophyll. What else do you saturnines want? Leave me alone or I'll stick my turrets on the whole damn lot of you.
I'm gonna need you to listen to me. I'm no sort of botanist, but I think Ryan has just killed Arcadia. The man put something foul into the air. Bottom of the ocean, Bio. All the oxygen comes from the trees. No trees, no oxygen. Give me a second. Ryan's woman in Arcadia is an old Betty named Langford. An okay sort, but not above doing a dirty job for $1. If she's still kicking around, I'm sure she's gonna want to save her trees. After all, she planted the damn thing.
They dress up in leaves and call themselves the Saturnine. Please. They drink human blood and chant, "Harness the flame, harness the mist," and believe they're touched by the ancient god. An aging bunch of frat boys tilting back goblets of plasmids and calling it ambrosia.
lockdown initiated. All bulkhead doors are now closed.
Damn city built to not let anyone out in the event of this kind of emergency. Either we get those trees back, or you're a permanent resident.
My trees! It wasn't you, was it? No. Ryan. I think I've got a way to save the trees. It's a genetic vector that... Oh, look who I'm talking to. Could you find a sample of Rosa Gallica for me? Look in the grotto. I've got to keep working while there's time.
Where did you go?
You're worthless! You're nothing!
You!
Sometimes I forget. Is somebody there to keep away from my patient?
Somebody there? Nobody. This is my territory! You think that I'm dumb? Sure. You keep up!
I'm also a woman who's not afraid of turning a buck or two. Ryan said if I could boost profits in Arcadia, part of the up would ride on my hip. So I get to thinking, we're paying for oxygen when we got photosynthesizing trees. Hell, we can even sell the extra to the rest of the city and undercut the other guys. Ryan will like that for sure. Fontaine's people have moved into the O2 biz tooth and claw.
The men all complain about their virility. I can make them soft sometimes.
the minister, he'll just have to wait. It's my daughter's wedding, not his. They talk. But in the end, they've got nothing. He is the poison! Kill him!
Oi! Sit. The poison parasite!
He's terribly but what is on
Rosa Gallica? Oh, what are you waiting for? An engraved invitation? Send it through the pneumo. Yes, this is perfect. Perfect. Come on up to my office. I'm letting you in now. I think I've got just the thing to put the green back in this forest. Anything in this damn place those pagans won't steal? Paper towels, ink pots, witch hazel, chlorophyll solution, even my back issues of National Geographic. They're feathering their disgusting little shrines with it, I suppose. Sick bastards. Now, I'm a woman of science, but I'm also a woman who's not afraid of turning a buck or two. Ryan said if I could boost profits in Arcadia, part of the up would ride on my hip. So I get to thinking, we're paying for oxygen when we got photosynthesizing trees. Hell, we can even sell the extra to the rest of the city and undercut the other guys. Ryan will like that for sure. Fontaine's people have moved into the O2 biz tooth and claw. Who says you can't teach an old hound new tricks? This batty plant woman spends 4 years coming up with ways to defoliate trees in the Pacific to scare out the Japs, and now here I am, down at the bottom of the Atlantic, trying to figure out how to do the same thing in reverse. Adam. It's bathtub gin times the atom bomb times Eve with a serpent. Let's go see what it can do.
made a business deal, you and I, did we not? Money changed hands. Let me read to you from the agreement. Section 3, subsection 4.
Mr. Ryan.
Ryan Industries maintains exclusive rights to the creation, use, and exploitation of the Lazarus vector. Ownership is civilization.
Wait! No! Please!
Without it, that is
Mr. Ryan!
moves the goal line down to the other side of the field.
Trees for 25 years. At Berkeley back in the 20s, on the Japs at Iwo Jima. But I never brought one back from the grave before. I did, Becky. Mama's gonna build her first damn Frankentree. I'm gonna call my little creation the Lazarus Vector. Maybe it'll bring the old gal's career back from the dead as well. Point of being a damn genius if the only ones around to appreciate it are a bunch of spliced up morons. I've cracked the vector, or at least I'm 99% certain I have. I just need a bud of Rosa gallica to confirm my analysis. Distilled water, a bit of chlorophyll, and enzymes extracted from Apis mellifera. That's right, sweetheart. Honeybee spit.
A man could start a business down here, yeah. Now, it's not too late. I'll get to it.
Always slows things down.
You wouldn't dare. You wouldn't dare. Come here now!
No place
Stop
for
wasting my
appetite.
time, you horrid monster!
You think that I'm dumb? Sure, why not? You keep on
Touch
thinking.
me, you dare!
I hate the babies the most.
You want more? That's cute. Real cute.
Don't you? That won't work for long.
I earned this thing. It's all about results. That won't see.
That won't work.
Citizens found in violation will be relocated to Apollo Square.
What makes something like me? I look at genes all day long, and never do I see the blueprints of sin. I could blame the Germans, but in truth I did not find tormentors in the prison camp, but kindred spirits. These children I brutalized have awoken something inside that for most is beautiful and natural, but in me is an abomination. My maternal instinct.
Julie, my dear, I am trying to run a business here. You want to spend time with my honeybees? Well, I'm gonna have to start charging you for the pleasure. If I come out one more time and find you lolling out there amongst my hives, I'm grabbing my shotgun. As to your question, yes,
My days in beekeeping school are a blur, but I do seem to remember something about that enzyme you keep blabbing on about.
children with their very long needles, their tuneless songs, their ghastly errands, their ghoulish Frankenstein fathers. But we've all placed our hand on the great chain of endeavor. My hand is on it. Fontaine's is on it. We all pull it and are pulled by it. Yes, these children are an abomination. But it is not my hand alone on the chain that created them. No. Their little fingers were right there, next to mine.
Jesus loves me, this I know. Come on then! Fight me properly!
Morning, Mr. B.
My life, not yours!
Dancing in the snow.
Down at Morley Winery has started putting water to his terrible wine. Water! When I confronted him with this fact, he tells me, Pierre, this is not to worry. The water, she is distilled. It could be worse. I could take it right from the ocean.
guess I could use it. Look at me, Mr. Ryan! I've got nothing left to give!
Even miles underwater, he still sees everything. Sees everything. Sees everything. Sees everything. Sees everything.
Dr. Suchong, frankly, I'm shocked by your proposal. If we were to modify the structure of our commercial plasmid line as you propose, to have them make the user vulnerable to mental suggestion through pheromones, would we not be able to effectively control the actions of the citizens of Rapture? Free will is the cornerstone of this city. The thought of sacrificing it is abhorrent. However, we are indeed in a time of war. If Atlas and his bandits have their way, will they not turn us into slaves? And what will become of free will then? Desperate times call for desperate measures.
turned away from your light. You think you're so pretty.
On my walk today, I had my first encounter with a pair of them. He, a lumbering palooka in a foul-smelling diving suit, and she, an unwashed moppet in a filthy pink smock. Her pallor was off, green and morbid. There was a rather unpleasant aspect to her demeanor, as if she were in an altogether different place than the rest of us. I understand the need for such creatures. I just wish they could make them more presentable.
Children came and sat in my lap. I push her off. I shout, "Get away from me!" I can see the animal oozing out of the corner of her mouth, is thick and green. Her filthy hair hanging in her face, dirty clothes, and that dead glow in her eye. I feel hatred, like I never felt before, in my chest, bitter, burning fury. I can barely breathe. And suddenly I know it is not this child I hate.
His light shineth even down here in the murk.
Fontaine is dead. Rapture lives.
Why do they wear those masks? Maybe there's a part of them that remembers how they used to be, how they used to look, and they're ashamed.
Children must remain functional to be effective producers of atoms. I had hoped to replace them into vegetative state so they would be more pliable. I find being around them very uncomfortable. Even with those things implanted in their bellies, they are still children. They play and sing. Sometimes they look at me and they don't stop. Sometimes they smile.
Welcome to the Circus of Value! Tell your cravings to the Circus of
Can you come get me?
Observe all his commandments. Observe all his commandments. I observe all his commandments. His commandments.
They make us kill intruders.
I said no! I am the Lord! Get over here! Come on, get over here! Unclean!
I've got nothing left to give.
Lord, I said you lied!
Nailing the perfect marriage of story to gameplay is a science that many developers still struggle with today. BioShock has left an indelible mark on gaming narrative that can be seen and felt in many modern releases, but Irrational's motto remained from the beginning: don't start with the story, start with the gameplay. A lot of fans probably wonder about the process you go through in writing the story and the design for a game like BioShock. You've talked about how it evolves over time and what eventually ships is very different than your initial vision. Do you guys write like a script or a design document for the game and that becomes sort of the Bible that everyone drives towards, or do you iterate much more?
It's different for every game. Like System Shock 2, I went back to it recently. I wrote a design document, and we started that project in September, and the design document I saw was dated like October or something. So in a month, I wrote the design document, and it didn't change. A lot of it, got expanded upon, but the basic design really didn't change on that. Where on BioShock, I think it evolved in real time much more. We had a pretty substantial design shift like a year before the ship date.
For BioShock?
BioShock, yeah. It got to be much more about the experience of being in Rapture than about being in your character sheet. And so the game evolved more towards that experiential kind of thing and making sure every idea was expressed in the world as well as just on your character sheet. So before you'd have a lot of things like, oh, I'm doing fire damage or electrical damage, but that was sort of a number flying off ahead versus, the whole notion of like, there's barrels and you light them on fire and then you can pick them up and throw them.
But you'd have stats coming off characters and all that stuff?
Much more so.
Oh, really?
And that evolved, sort of, we did a design ship, but I don't know how well that got documented. I think we were moving so fast that we were just sort of changing things, laying down the tracks as we went right ahead of us. And the same with the screenplay, the screenplay there is no screenplay. It's a bunch of, probably Excel files and fragments of Word documents that I'd write, and I'd go to recording sessions and I'd rewrite on the fly once I hear the actor perform. Because once the actor takes on it, you listen to their voice and you say, what you wrote doesn't really matter. Like, what is the right thing for this actor playing this role to be saying? So I tend to do a lot of rewriting in the session. And then like you have a bug late at night where somebody says, oh, this doesn't make any sense. And you're like, oh God, and you have to write a new audio log and try to get the actor back in. Or you figure out what's the best way to get this idea across? Yeah. And is it an audio log? Is it a poster on the wall? Is it a piece of text that pops up on the screen? That's always dependent on how much time you have and what actor availability is. So, the plans sort of fall apart. I think we've worked on that a bunch since on the new project we're working on where, we are trying to document things a lot better and keep things a lot more logical, but the train was running so fast on BioShock that we just sort of...
early on, we got the Andrew Ryan scene in, like we'd said before, and that was kind of like the keystone. Like, we're going to put a lot of work into this, so this can't change. Everything that happens before or after that don't really involve a lot of departments working together to make a scene, those things are very malleable, and if you need to change audio logs to represent a story, if you need to add lines or take away lines, that's very doable. And I think for a while we even had like text-to-speech.
We even did that I remember for Infinite with Booker and Elizabeth and other dialogue, and that really didn't work very well because you'd have these dramatic scenes and it'd be like, Elizabeth, we need to go to Comstock, and it just... Yeah. It almost had no value as far as I was concerned.
Atlas radio on ahead says you're looking for an invite to the fisheries. Nuts, I say. But if you heads up to the Wharf Master's office and find old Peach a research camera, maybe I could manage an invite.
Ken has so much of, these games in his head, and you're sort of, you can keep it all straight or try to with all the different things and changes. But from the team perspective, Sean, because this is evolving and Ken's thinking in his head about how this all ties together, how does the team sort of keep up with, what the whole game is going to look like?
There's a lot of specifics that can change. For instance, Atlas used to have a Southern drawl. Right. And then, we recast to the Irish.
And we actually cast an actor, wrote the lines, did the whole thing, and realized that people hated that character and distrusted him from the first start. So we had to rewrite him, recast him, redo everything.
Yeah. From a team perspective, you kind of get a sense on which things are going to be really volatile and that you probably want to push off till later, because if you work on it now, it might change. Larger themes don't tend to change too much, meaning we knew we were in Rapture, we knew we had Big Daddies, we knew we had Little Sisters, we knew we had Splicers, we knew what the arc of the story was about Jack coming into Rapture, and the specifics of this radiolog versus that radiolog didn't really affect anyone outside the audio team at that time, because we could still build the environment. We still knew what the environment was. We still knew what the animations were. There are areas you learn just by working in the same space for a while that this scene, I'm not touching this yet because I know that it's going to get changed a lot. I think these themes are pretty nailed down, so I'm going to focus the team on getting these things done.
I won't leave you twisting in the wind. We're going to need to draw her out of hiding, but you're going to have to trust me.
The audio logs were, a great part of the game, and something that if you're a true fan, people really go in and listen to those and piece that all together. But I imagine there's a lot of work that goes into deciding, this is better for an audio log versus game dialogue, and there's the act of sort of cutting back and sort of saying, we need to be clear about what the narrative is for the game. What was that process like? The audio logs, were there things you added at the end, or were those, ideas that you had for the game, but then said, hey, maybe we'd demote these a little bit and make them audio logs?
As Sean was saying, there's sort of a hierarchy of expense that you have to face. And so any ideas you have to get across, especially as you start playing the game, you realize, well, this doesn't make sense, that doesn't make sense. You have to figure out how you can introduce that idea. And generally, as the train is moving, you try to think of cheaper and cheaper ways to get those ideas across. If it's less important, it goes to an audio log. If it's less important, it goes to a poster on the wall.
Well, there's also characters that you can bring in that have audio logs that aren't, Atlas, Tenenbaum, those are your big ones. You can bring in somebody to do a short, a few different audio logs. It's a character that some players may not even find, but it adds a little bit of depth to Rapture.
And it also, usually each character generally is about a certain idea, and we don't just sort of come up with characters we have an idea problem that we need to solve, and so let's introduce a character who's this guy, and he will be the guy who sort of shepherds you through that idea.
Julie, my dear, I am trying to run a business here. You want to spend time with my honeybees? Well, I'm going to have to start charging you for the pleasure. If I come out one more time and find you lolling out there amongst my hives, I'm grabbing my shotgun. As to your question, yes, my days in beekeeping school are a blur. But I do seem to remember something about that enzyme you keep blabbing on about.
So as you're going through the game and, writing things, rewriting things, were there things with the original BioShock that you've always been surprised that more people didn't pick up on? Or was there something that, a connection to a character you thought was really going to resonate with people, which, didn't? Anything like that?
No, it's the opposite. I was amazed, I don't know how you felt, but I was amazed how many people connected to the Would You Kindly stuff. Because I think it was when I wrote that speech, I don't think anybody on the team was like, oh my God, this is really this or that. And I don't think I really had any sense that people were going to connect to it. I think we ended up sort of over time finding more ways to support the notion throughout the game.
Yep.
And I don't think I really, until I heard Pat put together the revelation moment, whereas where you had all the bits that Atlas had said to you in the past building up, and then there was a visual that went along with that. That's when I realized it was going to be a really powerful moment. But even so, I still did I think people were really going to connect to it or really even understand it? Because it's pretty out there. And that it was meta commentary too. I think that completely, I think I thought oh, it's kind of meta, cool. But people connected to it in a much bigger way.
Yeah, the choice to engineering and also just, being able to kind of roll back and think of all those other moments throughout the game. And so, a great revelation like that, they're few and far between in games where you sort of then you want to play it again, you're just oh wow, really, that does all make sense, right?
Yeah, I think as a team, we were definitely proud of what we had done. But up till that point, SWAT 4 was the biggest game that we worked on, and we had no expectation of that anybody would pick this up. Or even BioShock cosplay. I remember the first cosplay I saw with the guy in the Big Daddy suit, and his little daughter was in the kitchen cabinet. I think that was the first one I saw. I was like, what? Whoa, people know this stuff? That's insane.
Yeah, people were building these outfits, and that only expanded with Infinite. I mean, that sort of went crazy with Infinite, with people cosplaying Elizabeth and Luteces and Booker. It meant a lot to people, and I don't think that's something we ever saw coming, and we're deeply grateful for it, because it's one thing to make a game and get good reviews and stuff like that. It's another thing to have things that people are having their weddings themed around it, and their tattoos and naming their children after characters. You can't plan for that, and I think the only way that could happen is if you just make something that you're deeply in love with and passionate about. I can say we were. It was something there was a lot of passion on the team about, but we didn't know people were going to take away what they did.
Would you kindly? Would you kindly? Powerful phrase. Familiar phrase.
Would you kindly? Would you kindly get this? Would you kindly find that? Would you kindly find it? Would you kindly find it? Would you kindly get this? Would you kindly head to Ryan's office and kill the son of a bitch?
Part of the challenge with that, though, is when people love fiction so much and they dive into every word written in every audio log and try and connect all the fiction, make sure it all makes sense. Are there any things from that game that you sort of look back and it's oh wow, we didn't explain this and we should have, or things that fans have misinterpreted over the years?
There are things we think that we did that should have or shouldn't have been in the game. I was never a fan of having two endings, and I think
that's what the publisher was asking you to sort of have
That was the one thing that 2K, and they were very hands off. That was the one thing they insisted on, and it's not something I really thought was a good idea because they're still limited, even though they're multiple, they're still limited. And so that was something that we ended up doing. One of the endings was far better than the other one. I mean, it's clear that I was much more interested in the happier ending with the little sisters than I was with the nuclear submarine ending.
I'm sure part of it was the idea that, this game is, if you're making a choice throughout it, I'm sure when some people are like, oh, well, then it has to be a payoff, right?
Right, except the game was really about lack of choice.
About
not being a choice. So that always struck me as a tension. That was weird, but, look, at the end of the day, they were putting up a lot of money and, so I can't really complain. They weren't dictatorial at all during the development. So that was the one thing, but that's a game that I wouldn't have put the boss battle in, the final boss battle. Like we seem to end up doing that over and over and over again. Every time we start a project, I'm like, I'm never going to do that again. We're never going to do that again. And we end up doing it.
Right.
We're not good at boss battles. And that, you're fighting that guy and look, this is the naked dude. It just doesn't work.
Totally makes sense.
But and it works really pretty well up till then, but then it doesn't. It just doesn't work. That boss battle's silly.
dying cancer, destroying native cells and replacing them with unstable stem versions. While this very instability is what gives it its amazing properties, it is also what causes the cosmetic and mental damage. You need more and more Adam just to keep back the tide. From a medical standpoint, this is catastrophic. From a business standpoint, well, Fontaine sees the possibilities.
I send you pestilence! Your rivers turn to I'll kill your first!
A rapture reminder. The bottom of the ocean is awesome, but it can also be a dangerous place. Any leak is a bad one. Report any unexplained water problems to the Central.
Thus saith the Lord!
Run! I'm
kindly get this thing crafted already? Air's only getting thinner down here. From the sounds of that you invent, I'm guessing you're the proud papa of a brand new Lazarus Vector. Now drop the Vector into a gadget called the Central Misting Control. Then we'll be cooking with gas.
Don't fight the inevitable. Run out of oxygen soon.